What's up, guys? Welcome to day number three, where we're going to cover nutrition for wellness. This is very critical to improving just the way that you're going to be able to feel your health in the long term. So, nutrition is one of those things where we may neglect at times, and it can be different depending on where your life is currently. So, what I've noticed personally, and also with clients, is when you're more stressed, when you don't sleep enough, your nutrition is going to change. It really depends on what season of your life you're in. And the battle and the challenge is being able to understand, okay, what foods do I need to be eating so that I can have less pain in my body, so that I'm able to recover better from my activity, my workouts, and overall my lifestyle. So what I'm going to share with you guys is kind of just a better understanding of how nutrition can play into wellness, pain management, all these different factors. So what I really want to emphasize here is nutrition is very individualized. So it's going to be different from person to person, which is why with my coaching, with my training, I don't do any meal plans. I really just recommend you to have a better understanding of your nutrition, what areas you need to work on. So what we're going to go over today is something very helpful I've seen for clients. So usually when we see nutrition, it can just be like, oh, maybe you want to be able to change the way you eat because you want to lose body fat, because you want to lose weight. But it plays a bigger role than we think. It's very important for pain management, for building muscle mass, improving strength, improving your mobility. And it's something that we may neglect. I notice definitely when I don't eat the best, when I tend to eat more processed foods or eat fast food, either like right away I feel I don't digest the food well enough. I don't have the same consistent energy as I would if I ate something I cooked myself. Maybe even the day after, you wake up feeling more achy, you don't recover as well, you're more sore from your muscles. It plays a big role in being able to manage your pain and having overall long-term health. In terms of building muscle mass, one thing our clients will do a lot is under eat protein, not eating enough and eating mostly carbohydrates, which is what we eat mostly when we like eat out, you know, those fast processed carbs that make you actually want to eat more. Having that high quality protein can be hard at times to eat, and it's something that also needs to be emphasized. So, improving strength and mobility. It kind of like how I mentioned, there's days where I don't eat the best, and my joints feel more achy the next day. My body doesn't feel as strong. I don't feel the same energy as I would compared to like cooking my own food. So all of these factors have to be considered when it comes to nutrition. So what I'm going to highlight here is the three top macronutrients. So this is essential, and it's understandably different for each person. You may have, someone who prefers to eat more carbohydrates or more protein, and maybe somebody is eating more fat in their diet. And it's just really depending on how you're able to balance it well with what works for you. And, with the protein, it's essential, to be able to recover well, maintain and build muscle mass. Fats are, essential as well. And being able to just have well functioning, like having your body function well and carbohydrates giving you energy, stuff like that. So I'll be honest, I'm not super well versed when it comes to knowing every exact detail about each macronutrient, but I do know that having all these three is important, you know. It can be hard to survive, having just two of these. And it is possible in some cases, but it's very extreme. So you just have to really understand for yourself what's going to benefit you most. All right, so now we're going to go back to the Google Sheet, the one that we've been using for the whole challenge, and we're going to actually create our own grocery list. So I'm going to show you guys right now an example of what it could look like. So here we have kind of like a example, a grocery list that I personally would use, when I'm going to the store to buy stuff. And it works for me. I always try to make sure I have some sort of protein, carbohydrate, and fat in my overall nutrition. So for me, the proteins I usually opt in for are some sort of chicken, either chicken breast or chicken thigh, some sort of red meat. I really like steak, tuna, salmon, eggs, ham. That's what works for me. I honestly have a pretty big palate. I enjoy a lot of variety of food. It could be different for you. I'm not saying you have to get these, but it's just understanding, you can write this down and know what to get when you go to a grocery store. Carbohydrates. So this can include vegetables, fruit, bread, oatmeal, rice, beans. Again, it's what works for me. I personally eat a lot of these carbohydrates in my daily nutrition. The rice and beans are because culturally, like I'm Mexican, so that's the thing we eat a lot. But you may commonly see the vegetables, fruit, bread, and oatmeal, throughout all cultures. And, it just depending a lot on like your own culture as well. You might eat differently than me, and that's fine. But again, it's just good to be able to write this down and know like, okay, next time I'm gonna go to a grocery store, I have this list and I know what foods I'm gonna be getting, which ones are gonna help me to feel the best, have the most energy, stuff like that. And then we have our fats. So for me, butter, I love butter. I love cooking with butter. I also love peanut butter, which is something I have most days of the week. Olive oil, I cook with olive oil. I don't personally use canola oil or any other oil other than that one. I personally feel like I feel the best eating this type of oil. Um, I don't have any issues with digestion, and overall, like the food tastes pretty good. I like having mixed nuts as an option to snack. Whenever I have like a day where I may have more hunger, I can have like a handful of mixed nuts and add it with salt. It's pretty good to keep me full until I have my next meal. I typically don't snack. I try to just have 3 meals a day. Again, that's what works best for me. And then we have cheese, which I love, and then flax seeds, which is something I include because I do need more fiber and omega-3s in my nutrition. So again, I'm not an expert on this. I'm not going to tell you what exactly you need to eat. This is just going to help you so you better understand what you need to improve on. So this is an example. It's going to be like this when you guys open it. So you guys will be filling this out for yourself. And then now I'm going to kind of go over what you guys can do if you are unsure of where you need to improve on. I'm going to highly recommend you guys either download the app MyFitnessPal on your phone or just have it on your computer. And I'm actually going to show you guys step by step how you can start your account. So we'll start with this. So I'm going to just go ahead and put my information in right there. And this is really important. So now it's asking me for my goals. So selecting it to three that are important to you, including one weight goal. So for me personally, I want to gain muscle. I I would say I want to maintain my weight right now. I'm not looking to gain weight right now. And then I would say I want to manage my stress. Those are most important to me right now. In the past, what have been your barriers to managing weight? So for me personally, I would say stress around food choices because for me, whenever I have a very busy day or I feel I get stressed, I tend to want to overeat or eat foods that are not gonna help me feel the best. So I would kind of stress about like, okay, what I can eat if I'm hungry, understanding if you have a craving over just overall hunger. That's for me is challenging. Oh, there you go. Food cravings. So, I would say this one is also hard for me at first. Cooking is too hard or time consuming, which is something my clients also experience. You may not know how to cook, or you may believe that you don't have enough time, which is understandable. Each situation is different, and you just have to be patient, understand that this is going to take time to really build these habits and have a better understanding of how to cook and how to manage your time better so that you can make the effort to cook and not have to opt in for fast food or other processed foods. And then it's also going to ask you for your baseline activity level. So I would say for me, I'm active. So this is going to be very important to answer the right way because um, I am a personal trainer. I work out pretty much every day. I do some sort of activity, but I would still not consider myself to be very active because when you work out, you're working out for like 1 to 2 hours in your day. And then what are you doing the rest of the day? You know, for me, I do a lot of work on my computer, so I actually spend a lot of time sitting down. Um, I do go for walks 3 times a day, but I still consider myself to be active and not very active. Very active would be like, oh, like if you're doing construction work, if you're on your feet doing stuff constantly for like 8 hours straight, that's the only reason you would put very active. And then also, this is pretty self-explanatory, not very active. Like you have a desk job, you're sitting down most of the day. Lightly active, you are on your feet more, but it's not to the point where you're active. Okay. And now you just kind of input your information. So yeah, you guys would be going through this and I'm just kind of going through it really fast so that you guys can see um, kind of how the whole process goes. But yeah, you guys are gonna make sure to do the grocery list. You're gonna make sure to download the app MyFitnessPal or sign up online. So it's very important. Saying that my daily net calorie goal is 3,160 calories. So this is based on what my goals were. So my goals were to build muscle. They were to also like kind of build strength, maintain my weight, and overall manage my stress. Okay. So now the challenge would also be to track your calories for 2 weeks. So tracking your calories for 2 weeks, it's going to be important. So like, for example, food diary for today. Here, it's going to give you options of adding food for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and for snacks. So this is an example, right? So this is the daily goal that I have, 3,160. And it's recommending how much you should be consuming, how many grams per macronutrient, so that you're able to hit that calorie goal. To add food, you just go to here, and then you would kind of just search, for example, like chicken breast. And then let's say, for example, you kind of just want to estimate. So like chicken breast, grilled, skinless. Let's say like when you weigh your chicken breast, like on a little food scale, it should be on Amazon, shouldn't be too expensive, should probably be like $5 to $10. You can get one. When you weigh it, you are gonna want to put ounces on the weight scale and then input that number here. So 3 ounces, and then you're gonna add the food to your diary, and it's gonna tell you how many calories it was, how many grams of protein, how many grams of fat, how many grams of carbs. So really simple. You are gonna have to weigh your food if you are gonna be tracking the calories for 2 weeks. But again, it's really helpful to know so that you have your maintenance. So your maintenance is what you're currently eating now. And then you have your calorie goal, which is based on your goals. So now when you track the calories for 2 weeks, you're gonna understand your maintenance. So maybe my maintenance would be around 2,500. So that tells you that you need to eat more calories to get to your daily goal. And that right there is going to give you a better in-depth understanding of where you need to be with your nutrition. So yeah, you're gonna have access to me through the group. If you have any questions about how to go about that process, first make sure to do a grocery list. And if you want to take the next step, download the MyFitnessPal app and use it to really take it to the next level and to understand better how you can eat to meet your goals, but also to have overall better wellness. I'll see you guys soon for day number 4.